little city of Tyre, he's been trying to do something about it. And I've heard that there have been child sacrifices. And I'm not saying that's like a really bad thing, but just between you and me, I'm really glad that my son is safe here in Zarephath. And I've been wondering, there's no rain. Where's Baal? Why isn't he here? Because our crops of wheat and oil, they don't grow without rain. I've been wondering, here by the Great Sea, we can still survive because we have, the fish and everything, but I mean, it's not just the widows who are poor anymore. Now it's everyone. And so here I was, with my precious supplies getting smaller and smaller, and still there's no rain. And we couldn't afford to eat every day. And sometimes my son would be in tears because he was so hungry. And I waited as long as I could, but the day finally came. We only had enough wheat and enough oil to make one little flatbread. And that was it. We were going to die. It was either starve to death now, or cook up that last little bit of wheat and that last little bit of oil and starve to death later. And so I needed wood for the fire, and so I went off to the city gate. And, scraps and sticks of wood are always flying off, when people come in and out of the city gate. But that day, something entirely different happened. I was at the city gate, and this man, this traveler, asked me for a drink of water. I could tell he was like a foreigner from down south in Israel, because the way he talked. And as I turned to get him the water, he said, "And bring me please a flatbread." A flatbread? I try to be hospitable, but what made this man think that a starving widow would have food for him to eat? And so I was really polite though. I said, "As surely as Yahweh your God lives, I don't have any bread." And I explained to him about my situation. I told him I just had a little bit of wheat, a little bit of oil, and that was it. It was my son and I were going to starve. And, any other traveler would have said, "Oh, I understand, I'm sorry, I'll just ask somebody else, I'm real sorry, but not this man. He said to go ahead and do as I had planned. But first, make him a flatbread. So, he kept on talking, and he said, not to be afraid, because this is what Yahweh, his God, says. The jar of wheat will not run out, and will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day Yahweh gives rain on the land. All right, well, I had nothing left to lose. Really, I mean, maybe he was right, maybe he was wrong, maybe his God was right, maybe his God was wrong, but I had nothing left to lose, so I did what he said. And, well, you can guess what happened. You know why I'm able to give you food to eat today. I don't know how, but I made that flatbread for the prophet, and I gave it to him, and afterwards there was enough wheat and enough oil to make bread for my family. And the next day, there was enough wheat and enough oil to make bread for my family, and the next day, and the next day, and things have gone on like that for months. Now, this Yahweh was really true to his word. And I am not an Israelite, of course. I'm a Phoenician widow, and I don't know why this foreign prophet from a foreign God decided to have mercy on me. And just, know I'm grateful. And so the days went on, and I started to talk a little bit more to this man who had come to stay at our house. And I also began to hear some rumors about him. He was indeed, his name was Elijah, or Yahweh is my God, and he was from some place in Israel. And he had gone to King Ahab over in Israel, and he had said, "There will be no more dew and no more rain on the land until I say so." And, the crazy thing is, it stopped raining. Not just over there in Israel, started worshiping Baal alongside their own God. And so what Elijah was saying is that his God was bigger than Baal. He could stop the rain, so he could stop the rain god. Well, for me, it certainly seemed like his Yahweh was a great God. He was bigger than any other God I could worship. And he didn't need, like, really, I mean, they're kind of gross, like sacrifices and idol worship and rituals. And he gave me wheat, he gave me oil. I was very happy with this God. I was really happy with him until one day my son got sick. And his health went downhill so quickly. I couldn't even believe it. I don't know if there's anything worse than watching your own child suffer. And I wondered why this was happening. And I thought about the man living in the upper room of my house. This had to be the work of his God. And then my son, my little son, the only reason that I have to go on living, died. Just all the breath went out of him and he was just laying there, dead. And I went outside and I yelled to the man upstairs and I yelled, "What do you have against me, man of God? Have you come to remind me of my sin and kill my son?" This God, this Yahweh could see me now. His prophet was living in my house and he could see me. And I was thinking about all the different ways that I might have angered him. What did I do to deserve this? If this was the price that I had to pay for wheat and oil, it was too much because I can't go on living if my son is dead. And Elijah said, "Give me the boy." And so I picked him up and I passed him over to the prophet. And now I really knew what it meant to have nothing left to lose. You know, maybe Elijah could do something. There's nothing I could do. And so he went outside, he went up the stairs, and I followed along to see what would happen. And he laid him on the bed, and he did the strangest thing. Elijah got on the bed too, and he stretched himself out on top of my son 3 times. And he cried out to his God. Kind of like in an accusing way, like a "what have you done" kind of way. And he said, "Oh, Yahweh my God, let this boy's life return to him." And you know what happened? When you walked in today, you saw my son playing outside. He's perfectly fine. I don't know how it happened. But Yahweh heard the cries of his prophet, and he brought my son back to life. I could hardly believe it. I rushed down the stairs. He came down the stairs and put my living, breathing son in my arms. And I said, "Now I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of Yahweh from your mouth is the truth." I can still hardly believe it because, I mean, what have we been taught all our lives? It's Baal who gives us rain. It's Baal that we should trust in, and he needs our sacrifices and our rituals, and we should please him and not anger him. But this other God,